Jamie here, Jamie here. Hope everyone's doing outstanding. December 26th, 2024, about 3:43 on this fine Thursday. Really quick, don't have much time. Talk quick about the market, some names I'm looking at, go from there. Take a look at S&P. Reversed the morning red, the gap down, and we are back in Santa rally mode. The S&P looking to close up 4 sessions in a row. Just went back into the green a second ago. We'll see if that holds true. Uh, Also, good things to note, yields aren't spiking today. And then I keep posting this chart, and I guess it only it only works when it works, right? So we'll see if this continues to work. But the amount of stocks over their 50-day moving average on the S&P are now over 32%. So with that, the markets are finding a bid. So good sign here. We have three more trading sessions in 2025, and then we have the first two of into 2025, and then the first two of 2025, and we'll see if the Santa rally, what that looks like. What was it, 80% of the time, the SP has closed in the green over that time frame since 1950. So history is usually a pretty good indicator of the future, right? Past performance is a pretty good indicator of future performance. All right, so I'll answer other days. So the SPY, that 600 handle, was hoping for a little chop around it, but I'll take a move and close above that. So that's a good sign there. And then maybe that melt up to 610. Just it took a pause with the Powell punishment from last week, and maybe that can resume for at least the next couple sessions. All right, so that's the overall market. Not much in the way of catalyst tomorrow. And it's, almost seems like light volume, just a slow, meticulous melt up. All right, so individual names. Take a look at Joby, and it's funny now you see more people talking about Joby and Archer, some of these other names. I mean, they call it the drone space, right? I mean, Joby's, I guess you can call it a drone, but it's a tremendous drone, 4-passenger. Pretty to me, it's a EV helicopter, right? Um, but they're certainly on the cusp of disrupting transportation. And now you start to see the stocks starting to reflect the possibility, hey, this might be a reality. And I think that continues into 2025. The thing in the premiums have been tough on the call. So when I had the January 750s, I think I got them at 25 cents or 20 cents. I locked those out for over or close to 1,000%. And then I still did January 10s, which I added, and I closed some of those out for 100% plus. And I still have those, and those have been up and down. They were up a couple 100%, then slightly in the red. They're back in the green now. So it's tough unless I'm trying to time the trade, which is not something I really want to do with Joby. I'll just continue to be patient. In the moment since it went from $6, it seems like the premiums escalated at the start of the move, and now have kind of come down quite a bit. So the silver lining there is I've locked in a lot of profits already. So now that the premiums are coming out of the February's and the April strikes, I'll probably look at those. I was actually looking, April 15s look a heck of a lot cheaper than they did just a couple weeks ago. And I just want to go, at some point, I got to go back and find out what those were going for, a month ago. I probably could pull it up. So if you take a look, the Joby, the 15 strikes are 50 by 60. Let me see, I could probably pull up what they were just a couple of weeks ago. Pull up my chart. Sorry, folks. I probably should do this before I do my rant, but I didn't do that. Come on. Oh, I can't do it for some reason. It's not letting me do it. One more second. Let's see if I can do it one more time. Copy, copy, copy. There we go. Copy, 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 paste, copy, paste. And if I can go back, why can't it let me go back? 1 year by day. When it was $1.15 back at November 29th, was $1.15 for the Joby April 15 strikes. So considering you take a look at Joby, and it's rallying today, 933 was the high back in earlier at the end of November. It hit 933, 932, and today hit 929. So that's a key spot there. So the silver lining is that the calls are premiums have kind of come out of it, which is good unless you're holding the calls and haven't sold any. So I'll continue to be patient. It still looks like a great setup there. Held 775. I think 962, the next big spot there in Joby. Don't be surprised if I add some strikes there. UNH, after doing my rambling last week, I finally went and got some spec calls. And if you take a look, it had that huge move down from 610 all the way under 500 to 480. And even when it hit 480, the premiums were outsized, right? Because it's been very volatile. The implied volatility is tremendous. So because of that, the risk reward trying to play a bounce is tough, right? Because even if it does bounce, you're not going to make as much on the bounce. And then if it stays flat, the premium is just going to evaporate anyway. So to me, that's not the type of trade I like to take. And then I was looking this morning. It was in the red, but starting to bounce. Signal looked like it was finding a bid. And then I looked at the 520s. I'm like, wow, these look pretty inexpensive on a risk reward basis. So I added some, spiked all the way up to, I think it hit 512, and it's right near the highs of the session right now. Well, actually, it dipped at first. It was 507, went back, no, 508, went 507, then back up to 508, then all the way down to 506. And then it took off, hit 511.84, closed some of my calls out for over 100%. And then I'm holding because if you look, a 2% move puts it at over 520. I'm not saying that that could happen tomorrow, but that's not a large move considering where it's come from. And if that happens, the 520 calls are going to be some nice multi-baggers. So I'll just hold the rest, riding free. No, no stress in that trade, right? It's a motionless trade, and even if it's a small bounce and the bounce is just for today and tomorrow, and then it resumes its downtrend, nothing lost on it, right? So that's some of the reason why I took the UNH trade. Uh, and some of these names that have been oversold, especially into the end of the year, and maybe someone had a hugely profitable year or a couple of years or decades in UNH and finally said, oh, this is the time to pull the ripcord. And it could have, exacerbated the sell-off, right? So that could be some of it. All right, some other names quick, and then I'll get off the rant here, but take a look at SSY. I'll talk about that in a second. It's just something to think. A Peloton, it actually was just chopping around 980, 990, and then it just broke over 10, pulled back down at about 3 o'clock, and then just took off all the way up to 1033. That 1050 is a big spot. I haven't been talking about the Bollinger Bands on Peloton, but they're definitely getting tight here. So I keep talking about 12 bucks or so. Once it breaks 12, I'll look for some more strikes because I just have the Januaries for now. But like the Peloton story, Lemonade. I drew this little bull flag. So if it breaks below the trend line, typically that's a failed breakout. If it breaks above the trend line, that's a confirmation of the bull flag breakout. It just looks like it's gonna be 60 bucks in the coming weeks. Call me crazy. I still have the January strikes. I'll add some more on a breakout. I thought 50, but maybe if it shows a bid tomorrow, I'll look to add some more strikes there. But it sure looks like it's ready to squeeze. But then again, I have the calls. Of course, I'm looking at through the bias of being long the calls. Solar Edge looked like it was going to break out this morning all the way up to 1534. It was a dollar reversal off the open, and now it's just chopping around and finding a little bit of selling pressure. Probably gonna have to wait to the start of the month to see it to really start to get going. But hopefully that it starts to move before then. Still like that name for a move into the 20s. Clear Secure. I'm sitting here at 27.32, just barely in the green. I'm just not going to do too much. Not going to trade too much on that one. But once it breaks 20 and holds, I'll probably look for some more strikes there. Intuit and Deck both slightly in the green today, so still watching those for possible put plays, but going to be patient there. I'm trying to think of some of these other. I posted before, and I know JDS was in some of those QuantumScape calls. QS is a name I followed, back in the SPAC days. It was one of those names that I think was 40, 50, 60 bucks because I think they have a solid state battery or something, which is great. If someone can come up with technology that innovates, takes away some of the reliance on these rare materials and all that fun stuff, it's good, right? It's good for the environment, it's good for the consumer, it's good for the manufacturer, it's good for transportation, fish, all that fun stuff, right? So anyway, not a name I've traded, and I'm probably not going to trade it here either way. But it's funny the headlines because the name of the company is QuantumScape, and they say what's going on with QuantumScape. It says QuantumScape is running up with the 3D markets, right? With the quantum way, it says quantum, and then they said a correction after I did my tweet. It says QuantumScape is not a quantum related. Here it is. Oh, it's hysterical. Oh, this is you just can't make this up. So then they corrected it after I tweeted that they said it was up because it's in the quantum in sympathy with the quantum stocks in momentum. Just sometimes you got to watch these headlines because a lot of them are created via AI or what have you. Oh, UNH just hit new highs here. So probably a good sign into tomorrow. I think that's it, folks. I posted some on the main page. I'll probably send it out on the private feed as well and post it in the chat room. But just a quick update on the 2K challenge. I started it last year and it was up and down, not many trades. One of the sessions in January, I was looking at W calls or Baidu, and I went to Baidu. 2 days later, W raised their guidance, and the stock went from 40 to 60. So that was kind of like salt that like opened my wound, And then I had CDLX calls, and back when CDLX was doing great last year, or started with $6. I added February's for the challenge and March's for the OM community. So I added February's, and then I put on the top picks room for the March strikes. Sure enough, in the February's expire, and then in March, CDLX posts a strong beat and raise, and the stock goes from $6, rallies all the way up to 20 into the end of March. So, and it was a little frustrating. Then I was trying to find conviction. Next thing is April and May, and then I was going to reset it, and then here we are. It's December of the end of the year. So in lieu of just I've had some emails and questions, so I figured I'll just hit the reset button. But read for details if you're interested. Part of the 2K challenge too, I think people like is the sizing, right? So as opposed to just posting an entry exit, I do the sizing. And some of the issue, if you follow the trades, uh, a lot of times, especially if it's a somewhat illiquid name, there'll be a lot of contracts that hit the ask, and the ask will go up just because people are buying the contracts, which doesn't make it too much fun. If you're a couple seconds later on the alert, or you think it's a great idea, but then you go in and the option contract's up 5, 10, 15 cents from where I enter, and that skews the entire risk reward for the trade, right? So uh, the thing with the 2K challenge is the sizing, and so it's smaller positions. So unless someone's not taking the challenge seriously and playing shenanigans on it, you don't want to see hundreds of contracts hit the ask unless someone someone from the outside or some algorithm has it. Now I've seen that in the past where I thought someone had the ability to see some of my trades and my accounts. But anyway, in a nutshell, just take a look. I put it in the on the page there, and I'll probably put it on the watch list tomorrow just to give it a little color around that. And that's it. 6 minutes to the close, folks. Have a great day. Rock and roll. I'll be back. Have a nice day.